Hey folks, Randy Newberg here with another episode of Leupold's Hunt Talk Radio. It is November sometime. It's in the peak of the deer rut, I know that. And we are here at the headquarters, world headquarters of the Fresh Tracks Enterprises and the Hunt Talk Enterprises. Let me see. What is it, a Tuesday today?
Today's Tuesday, November 13th.
All right. So this will probably go live by Friday. But anyhow, I'm sitting here with Michael and Marcus, our production crew. Dan was going to join us, but Dan's feeling left out because he's still got a deer tag in his pocket. And he said that he didn't deserve to be part of the discussion today, so we're making him work. Dan is going through remedial mule deer hunting training today. He's online, Googling, researching, figuring everything he can. He's doing e-scouting with his onX maps, and he fully intends to shoot the biggest mule deer ever taken by the Fresh Tracks crew. So you got to put up with Marcus and Michael and me for the rest of this enterprise, I guess, this episode. But before we get to it, make sure you understand that Leupold is who makes all this possible. Great company. Been using their brand new Santium spotting scope this year. Liking that. I got the 80 millimeter straight version. It comes in angled. Really liking it. But anyhow, they support everything we do. You talk about public lands, hunting, shooting, you name it, and you can bet that Leupold's there supporting it. Also, we have Orion coolers, which all you guys got Orion coolers in the last month, didn't you?
Yep. I did.
Yeah? What size did you get, Marcus?
I got an 85.
Michael?
You did?
Yeah.
What'd you get, Michael?
Oh man, I'm waiting for the right color in the 85. They're sold out right now, but I'm gonna get an 85 in Dorado.
All right. So you went to orioncoolers.com, and I hope you didn't use promo code Randy when you went there, because I don't think that with the coupon codes they gave us that you can use the promo code that our listeners can use, promo code Randy, and they'll send you this really cool tumbler, because you guys already have these really cool tumblers already, right?
That's right.
They sent us some. So orioncoolers.com, greatest coolers we know of, and we use the bejeebers out of them. OnXmaps.com. We just got done with our big sweepstakes with them. You guys been using your OnX stuff where you been out hunting?
Oh yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. Marcus guards his phone and his OnX account. I think he'd leave the door to his house open and all of his firearms unlocked in his truck before he'd let you have access to his OnX.
I said you think that, but then I noticed one of these computers was auto logging on to my account the other day. So I had to put an end to that.
Yeah, there you go, guys. We could have strife among the employees here. But onxmaps.com, use promo code Randy and save 20% off all their app products, and I guarantee you will fill more tags. You will draw more tags. You'll fill more tags. You'll have more fun. And there will be way more places for you to go and hunt. I can't even get my mind back to pre-2011 or whatever it was before OnX came out.
Yeah, that app's kind of ridiculous. It's kind of become one of those things where sometimes where you just click your phone and I just open it for no reason at all and just start zooming in on stuff. And it's like I don't even have a goal in my mind. What am I scouting for nothing?
Marcus is surfing OnX. And then we have our great friends at GoHunt.com. They just finished up their 30-day free trial. I hope a bunch of you took advantage of that. But now they're getting ready to start loading up the draw odds and all the other information that you're going to need for the 2019 tag application season, which, let's see, January is kind of the start of it. Amazing. My wife came upstairs the other night. I was on my Go Hunt, and she's looking at it. She's like, already? I'm like, yeah. She said, it's only November. I'm like, yeah, I know. But anyhow, GoHunt.com if you want the same thing that we use, which is the insider service. It has all the draw odds, strategy, articles, you name it. Go out there, sign up, use promo code Randy. RANDY, and you will get $50 of free store credit in the best backcountry gear store I know of. And we're going to start doing some, Michael, we've been shooting videos while we've been out there highlighting things in their backcountry gear store.
Sure have.
We got to get those videos up, and we
tell me
got
when.
we got a few more hunts before we got to do that. But anyhow, gohunt.com, use promo code Randy for the insider. And one of the things that we said we'd do in the last 2 months of the season is the folks at Backcountry Hunters and Anglers, their members have been really, really big followers of all of our platforms. They called me and said, hey, Randy, we're doing a membership push, and we're really trying to get membership, hit some membership goals by the end of the year. And so I'm asking you, if you love hunting backcountry areas like all of us, I think we hunt a lot of backcountry areas, don't we?
Yep.
You might want to go out to Backcountry Hunters and Anglers website, and it's backcountryhunters.org. Somehow in their domain name, they got rid of the angler guys. I wonder if the anglers feel slighted. Anyhow, go to backcountryhunters.org, and you will be able to sign up. I would strongly suggest you sign up for the Rendezvous that they have. I think this year it's the first week of May down in Boise. There's a bunch of serious backcountry folks at the Rendezvous.
Yeah, it's a pretty fun time.
Yeah.
It's a bunch of good guys and girls, and it's fun.
Yeah. I've been to the last 4 of them, I think. They had me do a keynote at the one in Spokane, and when I got up, I was really getting animated, and I said, when you get them down, you don't take your foot off your throat, you stand on the throat with the other foot. And I saw some of the board members over there like, oh my goodness, this guy's going to incite a riot or something. Since then, I've not been asked to do any keynotes for them. So anyhow, Backcountry Hunters and Anglers, I know a lot of you are already members of that. They've got some membership goals they're trying to meet. Go out to their website, backcountryhunters.org, check them out. I think if you do the kind of hunting we do, you'll find that them and their advocacy for public lands might have a lot that you're interested in. So with that, we got a lot of stuff that we got to talk about because our last podcast, are you guys as relieved as I am that election season is over?
Yeah, it's nice. You can actually turn on the radio and be sane without hearing crazy political ads constantly.
Yeah, every street corner doesn't look like a billboard.
Yep.
And I'm like, oh my goodness. So we're thankful that that's behind us. And now it's serious hunting time. So since we've did our last podcast, we did a Montana general elk hunt with our buddy Bo Beatty of Wilderness Ridge Trail Llamas and Lucas Burt from Leupold. And then we did one with Carson and Sean from Gerber. And then the 3 of us parted company and all went our own separate ways to do our Montana mule deer hunting.
Yup.
And I shot the littlest one.
I haven't seen it in person.
Oh, well, Dan did some trick photography.
Oh.
He used like a big fisheye lens and everything. It's about a 12, 13 inch 3x3.
Okay.
Okay, maybe it's bigger than that.
Yeah, he's definitely bigger than that.
He had some weight to him. It looked like a pretty heavy buck.
Yeah, he's an old boy. But I don't know if we want to get into our elk hunts or if we want to talk deer hunting, because out on our Hunt Talk forum, any of you who want to go and talk Western hunting, go out to hunttalk.com, and we have this really big forum. And people go out there, and right now a big topic is hunting deer, because it's the rut, whether you're a whitetail hunter or a mule deer hunter. When does a whitetail rut start winding down?
Ask this guy.
I don't know.
Midwestern guy knows, right?
I would say around Thanksgiving time.
Okay.
At least in the Midwest.
Yeah, that's kind of been my experience too in Montana. It's kind of done.
There's a lot of theories.
Yeah.
On the old whitetail rut.
People think there's like a second rut.
And then during the peak rut, they all have the does pinned down, right?
Yeah.
Lockdown.
They're on lockdown.
I call BS on that. All you whitetail guys listening to this, I've shot a lot of whitetail, and I've hunted a lot of whitetails. This lockdown BS is just that, BS. If they're locked down, go shoot them. That's all the better yet. Walk up to them and shoot them. I get tired of that when you're watching some of this content and guys, you'd swear someone stole his bank account or something. Oh, they're all on lockdown today. Oh, my. All right, now everybody hates me. I'm sorry, folks. I just don't buy into it. I mean, that'd be like saying all the elk are on lockdown because they went and bedded for the day.
Yeah.
So what am I going to do? I'm going to go home? No. I'm going to go find where they're quote-unquote locked down. But mule deer rut, the biologists tell me the mule deer rut in Montana anyhow is about 5 days. The curve of peak to valley is about 5 days later than whitetails. You believe that, Marcus?
I don't know. I mean, I guess in terms of that, I believe it in terms of when the most of the breeding's happening. But in terms of when's the best hunting, I don't know.
Yeah.
I like to go, I think, before peak rut of all species.
So you shot your buck on what date?
I
shot mine on November 9th.
I think mine was was it the 7th?
7th. I shot mine on the 9th. And Michael shot his on the 10th?
No, it was the 11th, Sunday.
Oh, Sunday? Okay. So, the 7th, 9th, and 11th, 2 days apart.
And were they all rutting?
Yes.
Yeah, mine was.
Yeah.
Mine was with 4 does, and he was acting stupid. Like, if there's anything dumber than a mule deer rut or a mule deer buck in the rut that we get to hunt, I'm not sure what it is.
Mm-hmm. Although I did see some other big bucks that were not with does.
Yeah,
Really?
I saw.
Were, the one buck. There's a really nice 4x4 that I passed that I probably shouldn't have. He was near does. He walked by some, checked out a different group, and then went into the trees. But he was definitely not. He was cruising, so he was killable. But he was not. He wasn't locked down with any does.
And so you chose not to kill him.
Yeah.
You wanted to extend your hunt?
It was kind of early in the hunt.
Yeah.
I still killed one that day, but I couldn't pass out. The one I saw was just too unique.
Yeah.
He's not going to score it.
That's a really cool looking buck, Marcus. That's like a heavy bladed, just a humongous forky on one side, right?
Yeah.
And then barely a 4 on the other, but still really heavy.
Yeah. Oh, actually, we sent a picture to Craig Miller.
Yeah.
Who's on Hunt Talk.
Yeah.
And he said it, or I think it was said it was a 2x4. And he's like, oh, the stud buck.
Oh, he knew
2x4 stud buck. Yeah, I get it. I get it now. I get it.
All right. Well, yeah. That sounds like Craig's sense of humor. So, Michael, you were over in eastern Montana.
Yeah.
We can't tell where Marcus was. I had a limited entry tag here in the Bridger Range in Bozeman, Montana. And in Montana, if you draw a limited entry mule deer tag, you're not allowed to hunt mule deer anywhere else. It's the 4th time I've had that tag. And the previous 3 times, I hunted it pretty hard. All 3 of those were before the video TV days. So I would almost make it my hunt of the season. And I never really saw anything that got me that excited. So all 3 times towards the end of our very long rifle season in Montana, I'd go over and shoot a whitetail. And kept thinking, oh, these bucks need to get a little older, a little bigger, whatever. And I don't know if they got any older. Maybe they got older by a day or 2, and then someone else shot them. But, so, I don't know. I think about Montana before we turned on the microphones. We were talking about, can you have good deer numbers or old age classes when you hunt them with a rifle in the rut like we do in Montana?
I mean, you're going to have less.
For sure.
But I think there are places that certain places where deer can get old.
Mostly on private land.
private land, backcountry areas.
Yeah.
But yeah, no, I mean, it's noticeable when you go to Wyoming or Colorado.
Yeah.
The age class difference.
Right.
For
Way,
sure.
way different, for sure. But you brought up a good point when we were having that discussion, Marcus, because right now out on Hunt Talk, there's really a lot of chatter going on about Montana's very long rifle seasons. We start in late October, and we always end the Sunday after Thanksgiving. Most of the state is open to general tag hunting. There's some limited entry units, the one I mentioned here in Bozeman, some over in the Bitterroot, a couple scattered across
and it's
the
been
northern
changing.
tier.
They had in southwest Montana a lot more limited, somewhat limited entry. You was 100% success, but you had to apply,
right?
Type of deal. But then now they got rid of a bunch of those, so I'm almost out of the loop on some of those districts. I need to look into them again. But
yeah, and so you brought up when we were kind of throwing it back and forth with based on some of these comments on Hunt Talk of whether or not it's good to have such long rifle hunting in the rut and what the consequences of that are. You brought up an interesting point, Marcus, that the biologists looked at when the first 10 years or so when they had a lot of these units on limited entry, because prior to 97, there was almost no limited entry units in Montana. And then we had that really brutal winter. Hunters protested, so FWP put in some limited entry units. And your point was the result didn't show that much difference in age class in the limited entry units than what was there in the non-protected, just open general units. So
it's like, how much difference is it really making?
Right. At the expense of opportunity.
Right. Yeah.
So.
And then I guess it would be the same thing because there was a few districts where they have the hunt end before kind of peak rut.
Right.
But I'm trying to remember I don't know. I'm not sure what the data says about those districts.
Yeah.
Well, so are those limited entry units, are they there to protect the overall herd number, or is it to
I think it was in response to hunters wanting some areas that would had a greater likelihood, not a guarantee, but a higher likelihood of growing older age classes.
Okay.
Some would argue that doesn't happen. Some would argue that you could go and hunt public land next to some of these ranches that provide way more sanctuary than our limited entry hunts. And those are general areas, but the private lands provide enough protection that you'll find older age classes there. I know guys who say that in eastern Montana, if it wasn't for private landowners, there wouldn't be a buck over a year and a half left. I mean, I started hunting over in eastern Montana the first year I hunted there was 1994. And there's two things that always have amazed me in all my years of hunting over there is how much hunting pressure there is. I mean, it's been that way forever. But yet, every year you come back and there's still a lot of deer. Yeah, they may not be the big old boys a lot of hunters are seeking, but it's highly productive deer country.
Right.
And last winter was a super, super hard winter over there, which for you to find the buck you did, Michael, how many points did he have on the one side?
7.
7 on one and 5 on the other, not counting the eye guards?
Yeah, not counting the eye guards.
Yeah.
Yeah. He's a unique one.
Yeah. So
I was chasing a much smaller buck, and he just showed up. So
that's good.
Yeah.
But, after a hard winter like they had over there last year, one of the criticisms has been that FWP never changes the regulations to let the deer rebound.
Right.
History has shown that the deer eventually rebound anyhow.
Yeah.
So
Eastern Montana is an interesting example because, it's completely general and
Yeah.
They hammer them every year, but people still pull big bucks off of public land every year. But is that because of the private land sanctuaries?
Right.
Probably.
It has to be.
Yeah. And where this is a discussion about Montana, but I'm trying to I'm hoping the way that we conduct the discussion is people who live in other states can look at and say, well, we do something different. Is the outcome any different? Is the end result any different? Because you hear people talk about, oh, you need antler point restrictions. Oh, you need choose your weapon. You need only hunting in October. You need,
Well, and I think you have to ask yourself, what is the end goal?
Right.
Do you want to kill mature bucks? Is that the end goal? Or do you want to see lots of deer on the landscape?
Yeah.
Is that the end goal? I mean, I don't know. Everybody has a different.
Right.
That's where I think FWP did that survey, and they asked hunters whether they prefer opportunity to harvest a deer, regardless of size, versus harvesting a mature buck.
Right.
And I think Montana residents, at least, said that they would prefer to hunt and shoot a deer. They didn't care how big it was.
Right. Indeed.
But I mean, if not hunting, I don't know. Having more mature bucks in the system is gonna produce more robust herds. I don't know.
I don't know either. Do you know what year that survey was done? Is it pretty old?
2011 resident.
Okay.
I think this is.
Marcus is looking it up on Google, and every time we have these kind of questions, we rely on Marcus because his undergrad is in fish and wildlife management. So if anything is cited that's slightly incorrect, we blame Marcus Hawkett.
Yeah, that's fair.
Okay. And he blames Google. So it's kind of two of the same here. But one of the interesting things, if you look in the West, one of the states that used to be just an absolute home run for mule deer was Utah in terms of age class, deer numbers, opportunity. And things started really getting tough in Utah, and they've went down the road for the most part of a huge amount of the state is highly, highly restrictive to the point where you wonder, is that good for the long-term interest of hunting and conservation? Yeah, they have. It's weird in Utah. They say it's a general tag, but you got to draw it.
Huh. Okay.
They have general buck and limited entry buck, but the general buck you still have to draw. And you have to choose your weapon down there. Mm-hmm. And their numbers continue to plummet.
Really?
Going down and down and down and down. So they've went to the most restrictive model. Well, I guess Nevada is probably a little more restrictive than they are just because of habitat. Nevada's always been restrictive. But as far as change from where they used to be to where they are today, Utah is probably the most restrictive. And they haven't seen the huge rebound. Yeah, they shoot some older, bigger bucks, but they haven't seen the numbers back to where they were. And then you look at our neighbor over here to the west, Idaho. Absent absolute killer winners like they had 2016 and 17, they have general over-the-counter hunting for residents, and residents can buy a second buck tag if they'll pay the non-resident price.
Right.
And they shoot way higher quality mule deer than we do here in Montana.
But they, in general, don't hunt them in the rut.
Exactly.
That's the biggest management difference, right?
That's I would say that's the biggest management difference between Montana and Idaho. Probably habitat too. I mean, Idaho,
right.
You drive through there and it just, you look at it, all you can think of is, man, there's got to be a lot of mule deer here.
Right.
So it's interesting to think about all this stuff, and people way smarter than me consider it and think about it and try to analyze it. But Montana, we kind of feel like we're sandwiched by high quality mule deer hunting. To the north, Saskatchewan and Alberta went to pretty restrictive hunting. And Saskatchewan right now is rewriting the mule deer record books. Every year they're just adding so many big, big bucks. Alberta adds some, but they have a higher level of hunting pressure than Saskatchewan. But Saskatchewan mule deer hunting it's long seasons, and they hunt them in the rut.
Right.
but it's highly controlled. You look to the south, Wyoming. Wyoming has excellent mule deer hunting, even after a hard winter of 2016-17.
Yeah, I don't know. I mean, it's interesting, but again, it's like, what is excellent mule deer hunting? Because again, back to this FWP survey, it said that 25% of residents strongly support being able to hunt mule deer bucks in the rut, and 30% support. So you got, or 36%. So
61%
61%.
either support or strongly support hunting mule deer in the rut.
Right, and only 6% of residents strongly oppose.
So,
but I mean, how much do we cater completely to what the residents want? I mean, I bet the non-resident survey would look a lot different.
you think so?
Well, I mean, maybe not insanely different, but then, I mean, just, I don't know.
Yeah.
Who do you cater to, though? But are you catering to the hunter who's footing the bill, or also what's best for the wildlife? Really,
Yeah.
That's what I kind of want.
Right.
I want to know, but I don't know the answer to that.
Yeah.
Like, what's best for the long-term viability of mule deer in general?
Yeah.
I don't know.
I don't either. I some of the other dynamics that are different is in Montana, on bad mule deer years, we can shift more of our hunting pressure to whitetails because we have a lot of whitetails here.
But a lot of our whitetails live on private land.
Right. Mm-hmm. But there's also, I shouldn't tell the world this, there's a lot of whitetails living on forests.
Oh,
in
yeah.
Montana.
Yeah.
But
still,
and so I just say that as compared to western Colorado or western Wyoming, they really don't have that as a fallback mechanism or a place where in tough years hunting pressure can be moved to a different, I guess, situation.
Yeah.
But I have a mule deer tag in 2 weeks in Colorado, archery mule deer. It'll be interesting to see what we see out there.
It's going to be sweet.
Michael's all excited. It's archery, though, Michael. Well, I mean, the
Makes it
odds
even
of me
better.
getting within 20 yards of one of them that I can hit.
We'll get it done. I'm not worried about it.
I like your optimism, but let's not schedule that as an episode yet. It might turn out to be a serious failure. When I lived in Nevada, and that was a long time ago, but I still go back there and hunt now. One thing remarkable about Nevada is the great age class that they have, but also the great buck to doe ratio. Yeah, their total deer numbers are low just because of the habitat pressures of invasive plant species, feral horses, just pinyon juniper encroachment, fire cycles. There's so many things that make Nevada a harder place to look at. But, man, they really manage tightly. And if they get years when the winter range burns in a fire, they will go and harvest a lot of does to protect the habitat from overuse that winter. Yeah. And they get a lot of heat over it. But they're a state that's really responsive to what they're seeing on the landscape.
Right. So. Where Montana's kind of...
It'll take care of itself.
Yeah, exactly. I mean...
And one of the differences there, Nevada's 84 or 87% public land. Montana is, 30% public land? So I think we do have a lot of sanctuary to hunting pressure on our private lands in Montana. That's why you need your on-X system, because in November, I bet you any money, Michael, that deer you shot over in eastern Montana, he probably spent a good chunk of his time on private land. He's not saying a word. I know.
He was close to some private land.
Yeah. So and then you have the other option where if you're Billy Goat like Marcus, you just use distance and topography to get to where the older.
I had the added benefit of borrowing Marcus and Marshall the llamas this year, which makes it a lot easier.
Yeah.
Yeah, a lot further in there. I brought like the nice tent, camp chair.
Yeah.
I was living the high life back in there. It was
Yeah.
nice. They didn't have to carry the deer out, although I still got to pack the deer a little bit because right when I started quartering it, the coyotes were yipping like crazy, and I was like, I better just get this back to camp.
Did you see anyone there in there?
Not
No.
a single person when I was packed in.
Yeah.
Once I got back to the roads, there was people everywhere. But
I saw an insane amount of people.
really?
Yeah. Well, where you were at, that just comes with the territory.
Yeah.
And then Montana, we have a weird way how we manage resident hunting pressure. Not weird, it just anyone who wants to can go buy a tag. And our non-resident, we have 5,500 just deer-only tags. And then 17,000 of our elk tags, non-resident elk tags, have a deer tag attached to it or something like that.
I don't remember.
And then there's what's called landowner sponsored, which is like another 2,200 tags. And then we have our come home to hunt. And Montana has, we have so many options for non-residents to get a deer tag.
They've been selling out though, right?
Yeah.
Yeah, that's kind of impressive to me. So there's another stat that's food for thought. It's like, there's enough demand that non-residents still want to hunt here.
Yeah.
So how bad is Montana?
Yeah. That's a good, for all the people out on Hunt Talk right now who are debating this topic, it really is. I think your question is very valid. Is Montana the train wreck everyone says it is?
Well, yeah, I think if you gave me any state, I would not like any Western state. Montana would be low on the list for hunting mule deer.
Right.
But it's still a lot of fun to hunt them in the rut, and I think that's what I don't know.
I think there's a lot of tradition and culture built around that.
There
also,
is.
a lot of people, that 4-day weekend of Thanksgiving is their deer hunting weekend.
Yeah.
And back to some of these other states that have cinched down the opportunity so tight, have they lost a lot of their hunters? And when you lose them because they only draw a tag every 6 years, do you ever get them back? Or what percentage do you get back? And how does that affect conservation? How does that affect hunting? How does that affect funding of the agencies and the habitat?
Wyoming seems to have something good going on.
Oh, yeah.
Like, because there's a lot of opportunity. They kill a lot of big deer.
Yeah. I think the Kaibab in Arizona has a lot of good going on. You wouldn't know it by when you guys are looking at me.
What are you talking about?
Wait, what? Because we were there in the fall, in November 2017, hit the full moon and super hot temperatures. But you know that every day you go out there, you might stumble into one of those big Kaibab bucks.
Mm-hmm.
And so they've figured out a way to offer a ton of opportunity. What were there, 500 tags in that hunt we had?
Yeah, I can't remember. And then they had a youth season.
And then they have an archery season before that has a ton of tags.
Yeah, there was a...
And then they really cinch it down after we left. I think it's going on right about now. From now till 20th or 25th, they have a later, one of them's a muzzleloader hunt, one of them's a rifle hunt on the Kaibab. And those are really, really cinched down as far as tag numbers. But as Todd, the biologist we were talking to, the game manager, he said, there's always a surplus of older age class bucks that can be taken every year. And that's what Arizona uses that late Kaibab November rut season for, is they have a pretty good feel for it. One of the things they do, every deer that gets shot on the Kaibab has to go through a check station. Mm-hmm. Every hunter gets a survey. Montana, it's just whether or not the check station's open when you drive through that day. And not every highway, not every place you go has a check station. And then in the winter, they call a few people. Montana's harvest reporting is something akin to the 1930s.
So I've shot a deer in Montana every year since I could hunt.
Me too.
I've taken one deer through a check station ever.
Yeah, I can't remember how many I have or haven't. I know when I hunt eastern Montana, there's a check station over there by Hysham.
Yeah, I went
I've
through.
had to go through that a couple times. So, but I've been called by the survey folks, and they'll say, "Hey, did you hunt elk this year?" "Yeah, I did." "Oh, what are the results?" I tell them, and then I say, "Well, what about you want to know about my deer hunting?" "Oh, no, no, no. You were just randomly selected for the elk part."
Yep. It drives me insane.
Yeah. And so I think there's a ton of data that could be accumulated and looked at and analyzed other than these phone surveys that they do.
And they have to be. Montana already has the system in place online. They have a great portal. You log into it. It even has harvest reporting, but you can only do bighorn sheep and
Right.
mountain lion or
Yeah.
something. It's like, add a few more tabs there. I'll fill that thing out every year.
Right.
Like, just have that little window pop up before you go. I bet most people buy their licenses online anyway nowadays.
Yeah.
Have that little dialog box pop up when you go to buy your license. And
Mhm.
right there, you're going to get 30-40% of the hunters answering the survey.
Right.
And then the other ones, I don't know, you incentivize it. I think, obviously, I think it should be mandatory,
I
but
believe it should be.
why is
also.
it not at least optional?
Yeah.
Self-reporting.
Well, I
That's-
looked last year when I
that's
got home
insane.
from our kaibab hunt, my survey card was waiting for me. And you got to go online and fill it out. Nevada, if you don't fill it out, you can't even apply the next year. Utah.
Yeah, that's smart.
I know. That's why they have such really, really precise data. And there's always the naysayer who says, "Oh, well, people lie about those." Well, how do you know they don't lie on the phone survey then?
I know that I've accidentally lied on phone surveys because I'm like, oh wait, no, that was because they catch you
Yeah.
off guard. They call you and you're like in
Right,
the middle
7
of dinner,
yeah.
and then you're like, oh god, yeah, I think I hunted hunting district whatever this number of days, and then later you're thinking about it, you're like, no, that was wrong.
Yeah.
Like, yeah, no, that's stupid. That needs to be changed.
Yeah. So the reason I want to discuss so many different things is how unique not just the states are, but their populations, both the deer population and the hunter population, how they manage, whether for opportunity or for age class,
Right.
whether they hunt in the rut or don't hunt in the rut. It's all over the map. If I had to pick a state that I think really... So if you told me, Randy, you get to hunt mule deer in one state a year, I'm picking Western Colorado. No doubt. I've just... You go there and you see quality deer. And people say, oh, they got better genetics. Well, I think genetics of mule deer from Mexico to Canada has the ability to produce old, goofy-looking bucks.
How hard is it to pull a tag there as a non-resident?
In Colorado?
Yeah.
Depends on how, if you want one of the quote-unquote glory tags, it's going to take a long time. But
What about someone who has 7 points for
like
color?
Marcus does. That's where your Go Hunt Insider comes into play. Use promo code Randy. And this is another plug for Go Hunt because Brady shot another whopper Colorado
I saw
deer.
that
Thing's
thing.
huge.
It's so big.
Brady Miller at Go Hunt shoots more big mule deer on public land in units that he's not hunting units that take 7 points because he's going almost every other year. So do the math. He's
I
getting
better
either
get rid of those
leftover
7 points so I can get some of those takes.
Right.
Yeah.
But he's very generous with his information. If you sign up for the Insider at Go Hunt and they have their strategy articles, Brady writes them. And his mule deer strategy articles about how to draw the tags and way to look at it and approach it both the short term and long term, and how to just go even in years when you're waiting for the long term. It might be 10 years. How do you backfill your hunts in the interim? And I don't know anyone who's got a better track record to show for their strategy than Brady does. So And now all of our listeners are going to go follow Brady Miller on Instagram or something. You should. And you should go out to the Insider, the GoHunt.com Insider, and sign up because they'll start putting out their strategy articles now that Brady's off the road. Those things will start popping up in December, January. And use promo code Randy and get $50 of free store credit. It's like cash in your pocket. But anyhow, I bring Brady up because he's been on our podcast twice, and he's so humble. He will hardly say, well, I lucked out, or yeah, I just stumbled into this one. And it's like, dude, when you shoot consistently as many big deer as you do in units that aren't renowned for their huge deer, you're doing something right. So quit acting like you just fell off the turnip
I
truck.
think there's a lot to the individual hunter too.
Yeah.
I think even in Montana where it's the crappy little bucks everywhere, I think there is a big mule deer buck somewhere in most units.
I think you're right.
On public land.
Yeah. And it's interesting
Southwest Montana
how some guys have the knack for finding that one big buck in the drainage.
Yeah.
I'm not that guy. For me, it's like, in fact, I posted my hunt recap on Hunt Talk, and it's the title of the thread is That'll Do.
Nice.
And but there are some people who are just really, really good mule deer hunters.
Yeah.
I'm not one of them.
No, neither am I. The last 3 years I've shot okay bucks, but even for like Wyoming or Colorado standards, all those the deer I've shot are small.
Yeah.
I consider them to be okay, good in Montana, but that's just lucky because I found a sweet spot.
Yeah. Well, you need to be careful when you take my truck and trailer.
I don't know.
Because someone on Instagram said, we saw your truck and trailer. We drove by every day because my boyfriend was hoping you guys would be at your camp.
Oh, seriously?
Yeah.
That's funny.
So, Marcus, your secret spot.
Yeah.
You need to go in like a Ford Pinto or something.
I know.
I don't know if you could get Marcus and Marshall in a Ford Pinto, but so.
Just load them up.
But I think it's interesting to watch, and we're lucky we get to hunt a lot of places and see a lot of different states and how they do things. The one thing, and this is what I thought was really cool about your hunt, Michael, is you did it weekend warrior style.
Yep.
You left work on Friday, went and slept in your truck,
Yep.
hunted the public land with the masses. The night before, I saw your Instagram story. It's 30-mile-an-hour wind, 10 degrees. I'm freezing my blankety blank off here. I'm sleeping in my truck, and there are people everywhere.
That's awesome.
When I saw that, what it struck me is how blessed I am that my situation allows me to hunt all the time. I'd be picky about, I'm going to go hunt Monday through Thursday, or I'm going to go hunt Friday like I did for my tag because I knew pressure would be less. The weekend warrior person, as they get called, those guys and gals who can consistently fill tags, whether it's elk or deer or whatever, who just have that Saturday, Sunday through their season.
Yeah, that's impressive.
Those people are on it. They are dialed in.
Because a lot of times it's around day 3 or 4 when you start figuring it out.
Yeah.
And so if you never have that day 3 or 4, it's like it gets really difficult.
Yeah, and so I think about that, and it makes me realize how lucky I am that we produce the content we do, and it allows me to hunt as much as I do and somewhat exempt myself from the high level of hunting pressure that happens on weekends. Yeah, sometimes we're hunting weekends. How it goes. Like when the Gerber guys came, we hunted weekend. When Bo and Lucas were with us, we hunted opening weekend, which was an insane amount of pressure. But you think about the folks who have to do that. Yeah, that's really what they have. Mm-hmm. Like you said, Marcus, about the time you think you got it figured out, oh, my weekend's over. And now I get to hunt next Saturday morning. Well, the whole deck has been shuffled in the 5 days since you've been back at work.
Yeah.
So
No, that's tricky.
So if you were king for a day, Marcus, what would the deer hunting seasons look like?
That's hard.
Do we got to come back to that question?
I think I would have several more units. Are we talking like just, I mean, I think in Montana terms because I'm familiar with it and
Mm-hmm.
I know the regs and stuff, but so I'm just going to speak to Montana, I guess. But I would have a few more districts that would either be, I think I'd try a few districts where you can't hunt them in the rut.
Mm-hmm.
And then still leave it have a pretty heavy opportunity state for Montana.
Yeah.
Be able to hunt them in the rut, and I don't know. And this is different. I asked me a year ago or 2 years ago, would have been 100% different.
Oh, really?
I think
In what way?
No, we shouldn't hunt them in the rut because I thought I wanted to kill bigger bucks.
Right.
I wanted to, but I don't know. Like seeing stuff in Utah and Nevada and obviously the habitat and everything's different there, but. Man, it's cool to see families and people getting out and just being able to go out and shoot a deer.
Right.
And a 2-point mule deer is like the best thing in the world for a young hunter to shoot for the first time because they're dumb, they're everywhere.
Mm-hmm.
It's like the best thing ever.
Right.
And so to not have that, I don't
It'd be
know.
hard.
2 years ago I would have been all for limited entry, not hunting them in the rut. Produce more big bucks, but it's just I don't know. I don't know. I think I would have a little bit more of a mixture than currently, but not much.
Yeah.
I don't know.
Huh. Michael, you come from more of a whitetail background. You've been out here deer hunting in Montana.
Yeah, I always thought it was a little bit weird that you can hunt them in the rut with a rifle, like in states like Missouri as well. But being out here and doing it, it's pretty fun, and I need all the help I can get. So, and I think if you're patient and if you're looking for an older age class buck, like you said, Marcus, if you put in the time, you can find old big bucks. But it's nice to also be out. Like that day that I killed Bine, I was shooting the first buck I could find. I was out there looking for meat.
Mm-hmm.
And it's nice to be able to go out and know that you have a pretty high odds of success if you put in your time and give it a couple days.
Yeah. If I was king for a day, it'd be very similar to Idaho.
Okay.
Or Wyoming for mule deer hunting.
And so I guess line that out. What's the biggest differences? It's mostly not no rut hunts, right?
Exactly. Residents have large amounts of the state that are general hunting. It's mostly in October. If someone wants to just shoot the first 2-point they see in Idaho or Wyoming, hey, you know what? Knock yourself out. If someone wants to really get after it, you've got pretty rough country and tough places where bucks will get old, and those folks who really have an interest in older deer will go to those places. And then they have some hunts where they hunt with a rifle in November, or in Wyoming they have a few. In Idaho they have a few. Idaho has quite a bit of archery and muzzleloader hunting in November for mule deer. So I think they've done a good job of not foregoing opportunity and letting people go and hunt, but yet leveling the playing field with these dumb mule deer bucks. I mean, it's, for me to say they're dumb shows how bad of a mule deer hunter I am, because if they're supposedly so dumb, why don't I shoot big ones everywhere? Because I'm not a good mule deer hunter. But they're compromised. Maybe I shouldn't say dumb. But whatever level of acuteness they have in September and October, it's seriously compromised in November during the rut. And so by moving that pressure off them, you still have a good age class of bucks. You have good buck to doe ratios.
Right.
And I know Montana hunters would come unwound if we said you have to do your deer hunting in October.
Right.
They'd say, well, that's when I'm pheasant hunting and antelope hunting and elk hunting. Well, we get that. And I don't know, maybe I'd say, all right, you can hunt whitetails in November.
Mm-hmm.
Because, like you said earlier, most of them, the majority, live on public land or private land. And so that provides some relief of pressure to them.
Yeah.
And
I like that idea for the most part. I think the one potential loss of opportunity is that one, family that only gets to go out one time a year, and they're not. They're the ones who shoot 2-point. You see them all over the place. Yeah. Everywhere you go. If you go out November 20th ish, you're gonna see some family shooting 2-point mule deer from the road.
Yeah.
And that's
near a road, not from a road.
Okay, near a road.
Sorry. No, I get that. So
I don't know.
You don't think they'd do it in October? If the season was in October.
I just don't think it'd be as easy for them to get one. I think that the deer aren't as visible. They're not moving around as much.
Yeah. I mean,
the bucks aren't with the does. I mean, even the little bucks. I mean, okay, they are, but more so in the rut, they're going to be visible, up and moving next to roads. Yeah, I don't know, but obviously, I do like the looks of Wyoming, but I haven't. Yeah. They're kind of what they have going on.
Yeah, we always go whenever we're down there elk or antelope hunting. We went down there whitetail hunting 2 years ago with Matt Seidel of Onyx Maps. But whenever we're down there in those other hunts, when I see mule deer, they're not always, but I see plenty of quality age class. Let's put it that way. And as a guy who is sitting on maximum non-resident points in Wyoming for next year, I'm making copious notes about where I see these mature bucks. So that's an awful lot on deer hunting, but I think deer is the big game of America.
Yeah.
Whitetail especially, but even people who come out west, a lot of them come out here. They want to find a mule deer. I think that's part of the appeal of Montana is if you get the elk deer tag, that's the combination tag. Yeah, I'll go elk hunting. If I see a mule deer, I'll shoot it. I think that appeals to a lot of non-residents who travel here. But shifting, now that we've got the whole audience saying, no, that's not what I'd do if I was king or queen for a day. That's good. If there's one thing that I hope comes of this discussion is that people will go and participate in their season setting processes. In Montana, every January, we have our here are the seasons we're proposing. You can go around the state and seek comment on them. You get a lot of people say, oh, well, they never listen to me. Well, anyone could say that because you're not going to get everything they want. If they only listen to you, then they're not listening to someone else who has a differing opinion. But every state has similar processes where you can comment online, comment at meetings. And if you want to see something different in your state or some experiments or something changed, most of the biologists I know, if you ask to sit down with them and talk and say, I'm seeing this, can you explain why? Because they don't just throw a dart at the board and say, this is what we're going to have for a season type this year. Most of them have some type of adaptive seasons where, all right, we can have more opportunity or less opportunity, or the numbers are down or they're up, or we have more doe hunting. Doe hunting, huh? What do you think of doe hunting?
That's a tricky one. I don't know. That's another opportunity thing. I need to re-up on all my scientific journal articles. I can't speak.
I was at a conference here for a couple days my few days back in Bozeman I spent in this conference, and one of the presenters talked about how there is such an overpopulation of deer in some of the eastern states that the habitat will never again be the same. And so now they're starting to see declines in deer numbers because of what the deer did to the forests. The numbers got so high for so long that you ended up with no early class vegetation types. They just got gobbled up, the whatever preferred habitat was of deer there, and now they're struggling with serious problem of, okay, they have old canopy forests everywhere, and the productivity of the landscape is hurting the deer in the long run. And his hypothesis was, you know what, we needed to kill more does before we ever got to this point. But hunters didn't want to kill more does.
Right.
They protested, so Fish and Game either didn't do it or hunters just refused to participate. So I don't know if that, how
I don't think we're
applicable that is.
exactly experiencing that with mule deer in the western states.
No. I think one of the things you'll hear in Montana is in other western states where you have this weird, the western half of the state is heavily public and the eastern half is heavily private. Like Montana, you can go right down the spine.
Right.
Montana, Wyoming, Colorado for the most part. You end up with eastern Montana, they give away how many thousand doe tags? And really hard winter last year. Everyone's saying, why are we giving away doe tags when we got to rebuild this herd? Well, the landowners are seeing pressure.
Right.
Well, make them private land only then. And so if there is a complaint in the use of hunters to harvest does, I think a lot of times is hunters say, you're not focusing this to where the problem is. You're treating the whole landscape the same. So I shoot does, whitetail does.
Yeah.
I'm trying to remember if I've ever shot a mule deer doe in Montana. I did when I first moved here. There were a lot more mule deer when I first moved here almost 30 years ago. Used to see a lot more of them. And I think the first couple of years I shot a mule deer doe. And then I went to shooting strictly fat, agriculture-fed whitetail does.
Those are the best.
That's another thing. That mule deer buck I shot
Yeah.
is the fattest animal that I have ever killed.
Yeah,
It was ridiculous. Like more, there's fat like ingrained into the muscles. Like the backstrap has fat in it, and it's crazy.
Mine was the same.
Same
This
with
huge,
mine.
thick,
Rump fat.
and
Over an inch thick still. I don't know, maybe they burn all that off over the next 2 weeks of the rut, but this dude I shot was just grotesquely obese.
Yeah. Maybe they're doing good this year, I guess. I don't know, because I mean, a lot of times you have that big layer of fat on the back, but when I cut the tenderloins out, it was just gushing out of it. Like it was just, I never seen anything like that. I mean, I've seen fat deer with big layers of fat on their back, but this was like nothing else.
Yeah.
It was interesting.
Do your Midwest deer, Michael, get super fat like that?
I haven't shot a whole ton of whitetails, but the one that I shot in Iowa was pretty darn fat.
Yeah.
And some of the ones that I filmed have been pretty fat.
Super good grub.
It kind of depends on, when you shoot them. If you shoot them
late into the rut versus
late into, exactly. Yeah.
Okay.
So.
Huh. Yeah, in fact, Dan took a really cool picture from above of me taking the cape off this buck, and you can see just this huge V of fat that starts right at the withers and comes all the way back onto the rump.
Nice.
It's crazy. Too bad you can't render mule deer fat like you can bear fat.
I heard you can, but it's just
Really?
not as good.
Oh. Okay. Well, there's a lot of rendering to be done on these deer, it sounds like. So, with the audience now banging on their computer or on their radio saying, Newberg, why didn't you guys talk about this? Why didn't you talk about that? We didn't even get into things like management for disease, management for other things.
Oh, yeah, all the new stuff with CWD in Montana.
Yeah, and all that. And, The fact that you can't stockpile deer because at least in the West, along will come blue tongue, EHD, and wipe them all out. And then people complain, why weren't you more aggressive with the season types? Look, all these deer died. All these old bucks died. Now I know why you got out of wildlife management, Marcus. Is there ever a wildlife manager who the public agrees with anything they say or do?
Yeah, no.
That's a thankless job.
Sure.
Kind of the opposite of being a weatherman. A biologist is expected to be right all the time, and the weatherman, if he's right 1 out of 10 days, you're considered, oh man, that guy's pretty good. No one complains to him. Biologist, he can't even go to the grocery store. Someone's grinding on him.
Yeah. But then again, everyone wants to be their best friends right before they go on their hunt.
Yeah.
And calling.
Yeah.
Where should I go to kill a big bull?
How would you like to be a biologist the day after hunting tag results were released in your state? I would time my summer vacations to be out of the office for 2 weeks as quick as the draw results came out.
I don't need your honey hole. I just want to know where I can go shoot a nice 170-inch mule deer.
Right. Yeah. No,
if you could tell me what ridge to go on, that'd be great.
Yeah, and the biologist sends you to the same place he or she sent the last 45 people who called. And you get there and look around. Oh, there's 46 people here. And y'all find out, kind of like, remember last year, Michael, when we were in Arizona hunting on that elk hunt with Jerry?
Yep.
Because it was a drought, the biologist sent everybody to the same spot.
Oh.
We talked to like 3 different people, and they're like, oh, yeah, the biologist said, come right here.
Yeah. I ran into people in this small town at the grocery store, and they saw me, and they said, oh, we have the tag. I'm like, oh, cool. Yeah, we're going right here. Oh, really? What made you decide that? Oh, the biologist said that's where there's still some water there. And I think I ran into 4 or 5 people in that little town, and then we see them all when we're out there in the woods.
We
I'm like,
literally came up to the glassing knob we were on, the one guy we met.
yeah. So the moral of that story is, if the biologist is super helpful, be a little cautious. You might show up, and there will be 45 other camps there because he or she sent everybody to the same spot.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah, go to Gobbler's Knob right there, park over on the southeast side, and oh, yeah, all kinds of them.
Although on a different hunt, I won't say what hunt it was for the sake of the person, but I remember you calling someone, and they said, oh, you can't go there. And they told you that there's a place that you'll never get a vehicle to. Mm-hmm. But yeah, we got there just fine, and I think that biologist had a tag. They didn't want you to go there for a reason. But then we got there, and there was no elk there anyway. So
right.
It ended up not mattering, but that was my theory at the time.
Which kind of gets me to a discussion I was having with somebody. Where was I? They stopped me. Oh, at Sportsman's Warehouse. And they said, I know exactly where you were. I'm like, really? How do you know? Oh, I recognize that mountain. Spoiler alert, we bury a lot of footage from a lot of strange places in our footage. So if you see a very recognizable peak or landmark, a lot of times that was put there by us on purpose. And then now someone's going to stop me and say USOB, but we do that. I think about how many times there's a peak outside of Bozeman here that the first 2 or 3 years of our filming, almost every hunt, whether a deer hunt, bear hunt, elk hunt, we'd put that peak in there. Everybody come up, man, you're killing me, man. That's my spot. Well, we really weren't hunting there. Really? No. Well, why'd you put it in there? Because everybody knows that peak, and it's going to kind of throw them all off course. So maybe biologists do the same thing. Maybe we need to start a video series of the mad biologist, how the mad biologist gets even with all the hunters who harass him or her. Go and interview him. What's the craziest thing you've ever done to send a hunter on a goose chase? No, I've had nothing but good luck talking to biologists. But when I call them, I try to be prepared. I don't want to say, hey, I drew the unit 43 tag. Can you tell me where to go? Mm-hmm. Well, if that's your question, you're probably going to get the same standard answer that the other 45 hunters got. I try to say, look, I've been doing the research. I know it's this time of year. I think the deer or the elk pattern is this. I'm looking at this spot and this spot. Is there something wrong in my thinking? Am I going to see a bunch of people there? There's all kinds of things you can ask. Or, have you guys done any landscape treatments, anything for thinning, for burns, and usually if you're that dialed in and that prepared, they'll really help you out, which I don't blame them. If I was in their position and I got 200 calls the day after tag results came out and it was a lot of, can you tell me where to kill a big buck? I'd have a hard time doing that. But so before we did all this deer hunting, we went elk hunting, and we did 2 Montana over-the-counter hunts, just general hunts, with varying degrees of success. The first one, we had Bo and Lucas with us, and we went to the hot spot of Montana, right? Guaranteed. Isn't
the hot spot of hunters?
Yeah. Isn't this the spot the biologist sent everyone this year?
Oh yeah, probably.
Opening morning, Michael. How many did you and I, Lucas, count? 22 or something like that by noon, and we quit. We just said, you know what, we're done counting.
There's a lot of headlights down below us.
Yeah.
Yeah, it was
in the morning.
Yeah, but it was really, for me, it was fun because we took the llamas in. Just that's fun. We set up a cool camp. Yeah. That was fun. Bo had went in early and set up a lot of stuff.
Yeah.
Camped way up high.
Yeah.
Yeah, that was fun.
Yeah, and in this episode, folks, be careful watching landscapes because we were hunting in a place that Marcus and Bo have both hunted before, and so there's an awful lot of deceit going on in some of the landscapes you're going to see there. Is that safe to say, Marcus?
Yeah.
Okay.
Marcus, there may or may not have been a little bit of messing around. I don't know.
Marcus was hoping we'd just skip over this part and just talk about deer the whole time. But we can't because it was a classic post-rut hunt. Not much snow. It'd been warm. And the elk, they were still a few of them around cows, and then there were probably more of them that were starting to go solo or get bachelored up than what were around cows. But man, the hunting pressure. If you were a bull in Montana that weekend and you lived, you're like Houdini.
I was impressed the number of people getting after it. Like,
that
had hiked in like 4 or 5 miles.
Yeah.
And were hunting hard.
I know. You lied to us. You said, "Oh, I've been there before." We aren't gonna where we're going. We aren't gonna see all that much pressure.
To be fair, I'd never hunted exactly where we were on opening day before.
Oh, okay. But isn't this the spot you said some of your family had hunted one time and they just folded it up and said, "I'm never going back there again on opening weekend"?
Similar spot, yeah. I didn't hear that story until we had just about got there.
No, I was impressed. In fact, I argued with you that there was a trailhead down below us. And you said, no, you got to walk 2.5 miles just to get to the mouth of this canyon or whatever it was. I'm like, no way. There are not that many people willing to walk 2 or 3 miles to get to the mouth of the canyon and then scale another, I don't know what, 2,400 vertical feet.
At least, yeah. It's steep. A lot.
And get up here with it. I did not think there were that many energetic hunters in Montana.
Yeah,
They were there.
They were there.
When is that going live on YouTube, Michael?
Monday. So
Monday.
it'll be
So this podcast is going to drop on Friday. So on Monday.
Monday. What is the date?
Monday the 19th.
Yep, Monday the 19th.
All right. People will get to see that first week of Montana elk season.
Yep, it's a good one.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. Kind of cool. I don't know why I wasn't that like rip roaring get after it on that. And I was mostly interested in Bo and Lucas shooting an elk. Because the old thing, right? You kind of pass and him and I'll get lots of chance. And, I'm going the next week. Well, you kind of start kicking yourself that, Randy, you should have been on more than just a scouting operation. Maybe you should have really hunted hard instead of scouted hard. But I wanted Lucas to shoot an elk, and I wasn't that worried because I thought, well, the next week with the Gerber guys, I'll shoot him. I'll shoot an elk. Well, we got, 3 out of our 5 days were 0 visibility days.
Yeah, it was, 3 out of 5 days. Yeah, that sounds right.
And then I said, well, and even with that, Larry and Matthew have Wyoming elk tags, so I know I'll end up with some elk meat there. Well, now Larry, because of his chemo situation, he's got to cancel the hunt. So now we're down to just Matthew's tag. I might be bumming you guys for some elk meat before the season's over. I'll swap
It's only going to be Marcus you're bumming elk meat off of.
Oh, here's the thing, guys. I went and picked up the bison meat the other day.
Oh,
so
did you?
I got to bring it in here, and we got to have a kind of divvy it up party.
All right.
Yeah, because
How about we could do some trading? Because
okay.
I might have to get rid of some elk meat in my freezer to fit
right
in
now
that bison.
I freeze all those milk jugs. I had to take them all out of my freezer, and I'm packing every little corner of where's this bison gonna fit. I did not think I'd fit it all in there, but
Do you know roughly like how many pounds of meat you got?
Well, we already split it.
Oh,
with JR and Ray.
All right.
So we had maybe half of it, if that.
Mm-hmm.
By the time we got done splitting, about half of it, and I ended up with 5 big boxes of meat. Wow. Plus a huge bag of jerky they put it in these big, almost like a shopping bag, and it's then in these vacuum sealed packages. So yeah, when we get back from the elk hunt or whatever it is, we'll divvy up the bison. But that hunt with Bo and Lucas, I should have got more serious.
Yeah, we were I was with Randy most of the time. We were looking for Lucas a lot.
Yeah.
But
I wanted Lucas to shoot an elk in the worst way. So
yeah.
But we can't give the spoiler alert about
all the details.
Lucas's elk.
Yeah.
But other than you never know when a limb is going to get in your way. Poor guy. I mean, he was just beating himself up.
He got after it hard.
Yeah.
You guys had some big days.
Yeah. How many days do you think you put on that day?
How many miles?
How many miles when you guys went and did that huge loop?
Oh, the second to last day?
10?
I think Bo had a GPS on it. Said it was 11 miles, I think.
11 miles, but a lot of elevation.
It was, the elevation was the kicker on that.
And post-holing through crunchy frozen snow. Michael and I, we really went after it. We went to that saddle just away from camp, about, 2 miles. Came back to camp.
You guys almost got one that day, too.
I know. I took care of the llamas, went on the ridge up above camp. And if that bull would have come out a half hour sooner, we would have had time to trot over there and dump him. But when he came out, what do we have, 20, 25 minutes left? And you can't cover a mile and a half in that country in 20 minutes.
No.
So.
Yeah, you got to get your running shoes on.
Yeah. So the idea was he was going to go bed down and we'd find him in the morning, but we never really saw him scratch out of bed and say, I'm staying here. He just kind of disappeared into those trees and we never found him again. But there's a reason why you can have that much hunting pressure in a post-rut hunt on public land, because it is a hard time to kill a bull elk. These bulls who have seen 2 or 3 or 4 seasons, you are really, really up against some tough odds in the post-rut period.
What percentage of those hunters we saw on opening day do you think shot bull elk? Like,
I only saw one other person shoot an elk.
yeah.
With the guy with the llamas?
Yeah, and that was a cow.
I think I bet you it's pretty low. Even
Yeah.
yeah.
I mean, opening morning, we had that good setup opening morning, and then those other guys came in from upwind of the elk.
Yeah, and I wonder if those shots we heard down,
Mm-hmm.
were if they wound up getting them. Cause
Yeah, they might have, but we couldn't see down in the canyon. But that was just bad luck there, too. Those elk were coming right up where we had planned. And look over there, and here's this little orange figure behind this pile of rocks. And based on the direction the wind was blowing, you could tell immediately when those elk got in his scent corridor.
Mm-hmm.
I'd say he was, I don't know if he even saw him at first. I bet you he is 600 yards away. And they just locked it up, and they did about, maybe not a 180, but a 150.
Yeah.
And so much for our chance. But, and Bo, he shot one 2 minutes into season. That was good, though. He'd been in there scouting and planning, and I was really happy to see him shoot one. But for me, that's kind of my opening day tactic. I'd love to get in there and scout ahead of time, because the scouting day, didn't you guys see some elk over there?
Oh yeah, I think we had 50 some elk.
Yeah.
In 5 different groups. Yeah.
Yeah, and we went and scouted that other place. We didn't see anything, saw a lot of sign, but no elk per se. And then for me, the tactic is have a plan for opening day. Put those elk to bed that night and be there and kill that thing 2 minutes into season, just like Bo did. What's
crazy, though, that bull that Bo shot was not one of the 50 elk that we saw the day before. Yeah, no, because it was a unique bull. We would have recognized him.
That's for sure.
And, yeah, they did not. We did not see that bull the day before.
Wow.
So that was, but we knew there were elk in the area. So.
Yeah. Well, where you guys saw the elk the night before, we went around the other side thinking, well, if they came out that way. Little did we know, a group of hunters must have seen them from down below, because they walked right through where those elk were. We saw they were one of the many groups of people. We should have been selling cookies and coffee up there, man. Could have paid for our gas for the trip. Well, the next week after that was a tough hunt.
Yeah, that one was tough.
And I think the second week of season in these places that have general seasons are even harder, because the elk now are on full alert that, guess what? Season's open. Old Fred got shot yesterday. I'm heading out. And these elk are in terrible, terrible spots. I don't know. We were hiking up to almost 9,000 feet and toughing it out, trying our best to find them. And
yeah, it was tough. We didn't really have the best weather for elk movement. No. It was kind of mild. And
then it switched overnight and became terrible weather for glassing.
Yeah, which is our chosen tactic during this time of the year.
Yeah. So poor Carson, he couldn't catch a break on that hunt.
He wanted to kill one so bad. His effort was 10 out of 10, 11 out of 10. It was amazing. Yeah. But, man, he was dealt a crappy hand.
Yeah, the one day we finally found that big group of elk, we drive up to the trailhead. Quick as we parked the truck, we could see weather coming in. Before we could get our packs on, you couldn't see 100 feet.
Oh, jeez.
Yeah, and the weather had come over the ridge from where we'd seen the elk. And I've hunted there quite a bit. And we had to make, the next day when we did go in there, even with crappy visibility, what was that? A 9.2 mile round trip just to get to where I saw, 4.6 miles.
Yeah.
to just where we wanted to glass. So I knew how long it was of a hike to get in there. I just said, we're going to wait it out. The weather will break this afternoon. Well, we wait till the afternoon. It's just getting worse and worse and worse. And so,
I mean, we're talking, you can't see 50, 100 yards.
Yeah.
Maybe not even that.
Yeah. So I almost wish we wouldn't have seen those elk in there because
it
kept drawing us back every day.
Oh, yeah.
And every day we went back, the visibility was still impossible.
Dang.
So that's the other part about how spoiled we are is we talked about the weekend warrior thing in the deer hunt, but look at Carson. His one hunt this year was a 5-day hunt. Came to Montana, hunted for 5 days. 3 of them were 0 visibility days.
Yeah.
That's just bad luck. Whereas we get to hunt all kinds of different places and stuff, and it's really, to me anyhow, points out what a blessing it is to live where we do, get to do what we do. And I like the reminders that force me to put myself back into the mindset of back when I had to just hunt weekends and my days off from work, and that I maybe only got one big trip a year. And because you got to look at it differently when that's the case. Mm-hmm. And you could really use some good luck.
Yeah.
Really could use some good luck. But so anything in your deer hunts that stuck out as far as tactics or equipment or something that you did different than you normally do?
Llamas are amazing. That was so nice. That was so fun.
Yeah. Well, I told my wife if ever she divorces me, I'm going to go stake out a bunch of llamas in my yard like I've had for the last 3 weeks, and I'll only be single for about 2 hours. Every woman who drives by or walks by my house, can I go pet your llamas? Yeah, come on over. There's a steady stream of people just intrigued by them. And then when you show them and talk to them about what amazing mountain animals they are, not that most of those people were hunters. Bart went on the deer hunt day with me, and he's got 2 horses. Bart's a big horse guy. His family's always had horses. By the time we were done, I think Dan and I had Bart talked into maybe trading out those horses. And actually he brought his wife and 2 of his boys over the next day.
Oh, yeah?
Yeah, to hang out with the llamas.
Nice.
And no, llamas, they're a game changer. We took my deer out on the llamas, and it was fun to take them in because we carried a meal, we carried a stove. You carry a lot of stuff that makes you more comfortable while you're up there,
right?
Than if you were just backpacking it.
Yep.
And man, we were busting through deep snow, and they're just doom, doom, doom.
They didn't care, huh?
Just purring and walking and looking around. And the only thing was, I don't know if Dan and Bart realize this, but we got into 4 moose. And the moose were pooping and peeing, and you could tell when we were in this big, long stretch of willows about half-mile long. There were moose tracks everywhere, and we bumped into 4 of them. They just tensed up a little bit. Their ears were perked up, and they're like,
Really? Huh.
Yeah. I wish we would have been in a herd of elk instead of moose.
There you go.
Seeing how they operated that way, but...
Yeah, no, that was fun. Just hanging out with those guys.
I'd say my discovery of the year of equipment, Bo let me use his glassing cushion. What is that thing?
It's a Thermarest sleeping pad.
Thermarest Z-Lite sleeping pad. Yeah, it's just like it's just an old folding pad.
Yeah. He's got one that's 7 feet long that folds up, and the first day of the hunt, he hiked up with us, the Gerber hunt. And I was laying on the dirt. I'm falling asleep, and he said, "You ought to try this." I'm like, "No, I don't want to steal you. You hauled that all the way up here." No, try it. Okay. So I tried it. I was sleeping so hard within 10 minutes, and he let me use it the rest of the hunt.
Wait, maybe that's a counterproductive piece of hunting equipment if you're going to be asleep more often.
Here was my thought on it, is that by having it there, you can almost rotate. One person can really power nap. So when you get up, you're after it. Because I woke up and Michael and Carson and Sean and Bo, all 4 of them were sleeping. I looked around and I'm thinking, good thing a grizzly bear didn't come walking up here because all 4 of these guys were sleeping. I thought we were doing shifts. Well, I stayed awake then for the rest of the day. I just sat on that cushion. It was nice.
Oh yeah.
I've always carried like a little gardener's butt cushion. It's lame compared to this thing Bo had.
Yeah. I have the same material. They make a butt pad of it.
Oh,
but it's really little.
That's what
It's
I
not
rock.
near as nice as
Yeah,
having that whole sleeping pad.
I think
Yeah.
what I would do is take that sleeping pad and maybe
Yeah.
cut in half.
Yeah, dude, we could each have half
alright.
of one. We should do that.
All right, I'm down.
All right. Well, I've seen people use them, and I thought, who wants to carry that? Yeah, that looks kind of lame.
It doesn't weigh anything, but it is bulky.
Bulky,
Yeah.
right?
It's bulky, but it doesn't weigh anything.
That had me saying, why have you waited so long to do this, Randy? I know it's kind of stupid that I've hunted that long and never tried it. And it's such a little thing, but sometimes the little things add serious convenience and comforts that let you hunt harder,
Yep.
at least for me. The other thing was that I've enjoyed that we've done a couple times this year is with the llamas, we've been able to haul a quick boil stove up and some dehydrated meals. And you get up at 9,000 feet and the wind's been blowing hard and it's been 15 degrees. There's just something about a really warm meal in your belly
Yeah.
that makes you thankful that you took the time or brought the llamas so you could pack that stuff up there.
Yeah.
So,
I was just going to say one thing on my hunt, just changing topics a little bit, was hanging out by yourself for a while. I haven't done that in a while.
That's what I was gonna say from my
just
point.
like it's I think it's good.
Yeah.
Good for the soul to just be by yourself. With no one else around. Stay the night in the middle of nowhere for a few days. And I used to do it a lot more before I was married.
Yeah.
And I still love going out with Karen and doing stuff, but
Yeah.
it's something that's like good, just being out in the middle of nowhere by yourself.
Some people get freaked out by that.
Oh, I think it's like one of the most relaxing things that I can that you can experience.
Yeah.
In my mind.
Huh. Well, I get a lot of emails from people about how do you handle the solitude, the silence, the loneliness, the whatever it is. And
I dealt with that this past weekend.
Yeah.
That was one of the things that I kind of had to overcome. Like, you're out there by yourself. In my case, the second day of hunting, I didn't see a single deer on public, and I was ready to kind of pack it in. But to get to my point or whatever, that I learned on these hunts is persistence is key, and you just got to stick with it. And I think that really helped on this last go.
Yeah.
I've always enjoyed that solitude thing that you've talked about, Marcus.
Mm-hmm.
I don't get it now, obviously, because we always have at least a camera person and a lot of times a guest hunter. But there's definitely some value in that. Definitely.
Yeah.
So, oh man, we are solving all kinds of the world problems now that we're done with political season for 2 more years. I hope until Congress reconvenes in January, then it'll be back to the same old pain in the butt again. But what do we have left? We got Wyoming elk.
We got
Later
Wyoming
this
elk,
week.
Colorado deer, Arizona deer for Marcus and Wade,
Yeah,
and
Arizona
then
Coues deer.
and then Coues deer in January.
Yeah. Is it gonna-
Javelina.
Yeah.
Don't forget the javelina.
It's whatever lives there. Anything that's edible and has an open season that we have license or tag for. Javelina, Sonoran dick, i.e. a 1.5-year-old Coues deer.
Antelope jackrabbit.
Antelope jackrabbits, cottontails, Mearns quail, scaled quail. Dove season will still be open when we're there this year. Quadamonday if we see one. And then we're going duck hunting with the Falcons.
Yeah.
Not like the Atlanta Falcons football team. Chris Parrish and the
I'm excited for that.
That's
yeah.
so sweet.
We should probably bring the slow-mo camera down for that.
I am so excited to see how you duck hunt with Falcons.
Yeah.
That is going to be so fun. I am just that's probably one of the things I'm most excited about. There's quite a few falconers here in Bozeman. There's a small group, well, not quite a few, a small group. And I've seen them go out and do their thing from afar. And I always wanted to go and ask them, can I watch? But you feel like you're imposing on them, so you don't ask. So it's always intrigued me. You think about how long humans have been hunting with birds of prey and raptors. This is old school.
Yeah.
This is just, man. I wonder how you count the limit, though. Or, if the limit is 3 ducks.
There's falconry regulations.
Oh, that's right.
Yeah. At least in Montana. I assume there is for
I assume there is there, too.
Arizona.
So, does the guy who flushes them off the water up into the air, does that person get credit for it? Or does only wonder what the term is for the person who owns and controls the bird?
Yeah, I think it's their limit.
How does it work? How is this going to happen? Are we going to, is it like jump shooting ducks?
Yeah. Yeah. We're going to send, I think you send the bird up and the bird starts flying, and then I'm going to rush the stock tank, the pond, and flush the ducks up. And they're going to think, we got away from him, and here will come a peregrine falcon at 180 miles an hour. Just thump. Oh, man.
Are they big birds? Are they?
No.
They aren't?
Not really. Peregrine, they're not that big.
I've never... I really didn't know this was a thing.
Is that what they were doing in Wyoming? Chris sent us those pictures of those sage grouse. Was that a peregrine or was that a different one?
I can't remember the photo now. What?
It was cool. Yeah. That bird's just sitting there on this great big male sage grouse. I'm bad. I'm bad, man. Don't screw with me, pal.
That's gonna be so cool.
I got to witness one in nature once. Peregrine taking out a Franklin's gull.
Really?
And that was one of the coolest things I've ever seen.
What?
Franklin's gull. So it's like a seagull, but it's the one that has the little black on its head there. Gotcha. And anyway, it took that thing out, and it just picked it up and just carried it a mile, landed on a fence post, and started eating it.
Took it out of the air? Or
it killed it in the air.
Oh, man.
Knocked it to the ground,
then
picked it up and flew a mile with it. And it's like a bird that's like the same size as it.
Yeah.
It picks it up and carries it.
Are these falcons going to be this smaller than the ducks? Or are they about the same?
I don't know.
They'll be a little bigger than a duck.
Okay.
The other part, I don't know if we'll have time, but these big jackrabbits, to me, we ought to send the bird up.
That would be pretty impressive.
And then a bunch of us flush out one of these great big antelope jackrabbits.
That was fun doing that last year.
Yeah.
It would be way sweet.
I'm thinking of bringing a 22.
You should.
Instead of just this archery stuff. Because those antelope jackrabbits are good.
Yeah, or even, what I was thinking is you could bring, do you have any sort of scoped 17 or anything?
I have a 222.
I was just thinking for rabbits, and then also I think Coati's open for rifle.
For rifle hunt?
I'm pretty sure. We'll have to double check that, but I was thinking we could just go post up on that rock pile. I bet you they use that rock pile
all the time.
All the time. And I bet you could just shoot one at 200 yards with a rifle.
I have a Howa 222 in they make them in these mini actions, they call it. That thing, it is lights out. I didn't know you could use that. Maybe
I know you can at some point of the year. Maybe I don't know if there's a season. We'll have to.
We'll check into it. I'll bring it.
Yeah.
I'll everything I own is gonna be going down there with me.
Heck yeah.
The good news is I'm driving.
Yeah.
So I'm bringing a Traeger grill.
Oh, seriously?
Yeah.
Are you bringing the whole cargo trailer and everything?
I'm bringing the cargo trailer for a couple reasons. One, we can bring all of our production gear. Then I can bring a whole arsenal of shotguns and rifles and extra bows and targets. And then on the way back, I got to go through Vegas because I'm moving my mother-in-law up here.
Oh.
Because my father-in-law just passed away. So I got to grab all of her stuff and throw it in the cargo trailer and bring it to my house because she's... So I figured, well, if I got to go get my mother-in-law's stuff, I may as well bring it on down.
All right.
I love that hunt. That was so much fun last year. I can't wait to go back.
I don't know what you can do in January that is more fun than leaving the freezing cold to the north and going to southern Arizona with all that public land, most of it either leftover tags or over the counter, and just hunt whatever your stomach is hungry for.
Yeah.
I really don't know. This year, we have David Brinker coming with us again, Brian Call of the Gritty Bowman again, Keith Balford from the Boone and Crockett Club, and Arizona did this survey of who were influencers of. So they surveyed a big part of their non-resident audience, and the Hush guys were pretty high up that list. And so I'm not sure which of them are coming, but I talked to Brian the other day, and he said at least one or two of them will be there. So I told a bunch of those folks, bring your tents because we don't have a big enough house for everybody.
Camera guys sleep outside.
Yeah. And we're doing it before SHOT Show this year so that everybody doesn't show up with the SHOT Show flu.
Yeah, that was...
I thought Brinker and Soholt were going to die last year. Man, they were bad. Well, Brinker, we had to take him to Tucson so he could fly home.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So, that's fun. I
can't wait.
It is going to be a blast. And Dan isn't going to get to join us because he and his wife are having a baby, so we've got to keep him on a tether close to home here. And so, but it's what happens, you know. You're going to miss out on the fun, and not our fault. We just got to find a chef because Hank can't make it this year. So either we don't have a renowned wild game cook, and every day is an experiment.
I was just thinking we should plan it out. If we have a chef or whoever come, we can plan that out, what meals they'll cook.
Mm-hmm.
But any gaps in it, we can pick up amongst ourselves. Like,
Yeah.
I'm happy to take a day or two, and
Mm-hmm.
I'm responsible for dinner, and I'll cook dinner. Whatever we've killed, I'll grab it, make something out of it.
All right.
I think that'd be fun.
There's bluegills in that lake down there. I want to go bluegill fishing.
Oh, yeah?
Yeah. I told the Jonathan, I think Jonathan Odell, I hope Jonathan comes with that Sandhill
Crane
bacon that he made.
That's so good.
I
It's
better
like the
call
easiest
him.
recipe in the world, too.
Yeah. I need to call him. Hey, Jonathan, you need to show up and you need to bring a bunch more of those Sandhill cranes.
No, we should go shoot some geese here before too long and make our own bacon.
Yeah.
Well, let's do
Honker.
that. There's right behind the office here. There's about 1,000 of them in the field right
Yeah,
Yeah,
over
we
here.
need to
There's
figure
a
out
bunch in
who
the field.
owns that.
Yeah, unfortunately, it's now on city limits, so
Yeah.
you can't shoot there, which is why all the geese congregate there now. They know it's
Can
a
you
safe
shoot them with
place.
a bow? Is that legal in Montana?
I don't know.
I don't think you're supposed to in city limits, actually.
Yeah,
Which is a bummer.
yeah. But no, there's just so many great things to eat while we're there.
Yeah, it's gonna be fun.
It's the one time I hunt with my stomach more than any.
You're
Everything.
gonna get a Sonoran Dick this year.
I hope so.
I love that.
That's my
That's like-
goal.
Like, I think if there's like a 3-point and their Dick standing there next to each
I'm
other,
shooting the dick.
Yeah.
No doubt. Last year we got close to that one, Marcus, you and I. And no, there was a 4x4. So I was thinking, I got to go for the 4x4. I bet you if we would have snuck down, I would have got a shot at that dick. He was inch and a half long. How do you spell dick? D-I-K-D-I-K?
I think so.
People got to be wondering, what am I talking about?
Google
but
it, yeah.
So, right here, a dick, D-I-K-D-I-K. It says, a dick is the name for any of 4 species of small antelope. Oh, they're an antelope, not a deer. That live in the bushlands of eastern and southern Africa.
Yeah, I was gonna say. I thought that was Africa.
Oh, well, yeah, but this is the Sonoran Dick.
Wow. They can run up to 26 miles an hour. Their size is up to 11 pounds.
Wow.
This is going to be a world record dick. Because I would bet that a small 1.5-year-old Coues deer weighs at least 60 pounds.
Yeah, they're pretty small though. Those deer are just they're tiny. Yeah.
No, right here it is. I'm looking for a Sonoran dick. We're going to start a new classification.
I might just have to shoot one with a rifle when I'm down there.
Yeah, see, I've been doing this archery thing now, and Marcus said, heck with it, he's going rifle hunting. So next month, he's going rifle hunting down there.
They won't be rutting yet.
Yeah, but still, with a rifle.
Yeah, if I can find one.
You'll find one.
Yeah,
you and Wade will find one. Wade told me you guys will be done in a day, and then you're going quail hunting.
That's the plan.
Oh, okay.
Quail fest.
Marcus, he's just like, well, that's a plan. Just complete serious as can be. Like, well, yeah, you think I'm going down there screw around?
Quail fest this year, apparently, or second annual.
Oh, yeah? Where at? Sonoita,
yeah.
Sonoita, Arizona. Second annual quail fest?
I believe so. I'm not positive on that, but we're going to go.
Cool.
Wade says we're going, so we're going.
Really?
Yeah.
That'll be fun. Huh.
Yeah.
Well, I know some people think we're joking about the dick thing, but these little Coues deer bucks, when they're 1.5 years old, they have an antler about an inch and a half. And I don't know if there's some rule that to be considered a buck, it's got to have an antler over 4 inches or something. I probably ought to check that regulation before I shoot a dick. But
yeah, I think in Montana it's 4 inches.
Yeah, it's not considered a buck unless it's 4 inches of polish.
But it is from the pedicle too, or from the base of the skull. So
No,
you get that
not from
extra
the
inch there.
Oh, okay.
You got if you got 3 inches, you're probably good.
If people knew, the only downside about putting that on video is the just absolute fun and pleasure of it does not come across completely in video. And maybe that's good, because if people knew how much fun it was, we'd have to buy our own rock to stand on down there. There'd be so many people doing it.
Yeah. It is surprising. Like, we haven't run into that many other people doing it. You just we just been going to like Walmart or whatever sporting goods store, you buy the take and you just go.
Yeah.
Like, you don't have to, you just go buy the take and you go out.
Yeah. And all of us pretty much already have our Arizona license because we're applying for deer and elk and antelope and everything else in Arizona. So it's just the cost to get there and whether or not your body can tolerate having that much fun. I mean, most of the time you got to violate some principle to have that much fun day after day after day. And the weather's nice. I've yet to shovel any snow while we're down there.
Yeah.
I haven't had to plug in the block heater on the truck when we're down there. Usually we can sit out on the porch until 8 or 9 at night. It's nice and cool. Listen to the quail call.
Yeah. I'm excited. It'll be
a
nice little break from winter for a week.
Yeah, last year we hit Arizona pretty hard with the elk hunting and deer hunting with rifle. This year we're hitting the Coues deer hunting hard. You're going with a rifle, then we're going with a bow.
Yep.
Antelope, jackrabbits. I wonder if anyone's ever taken one with a bow. I'm sure they have, but I wonder if Jim Heffelfinger will be able to join us.
Oh, that would be fun.
Jackrabbit Jim.
Yeah.
Yeah. I got to get you his book.
I already got it.
Oh, you did?
He sent me a copy.
Oh, he sent you a copy?
Yeah.
Okay. Because I was kind of thumbing through it. I'm thinking, every Coues deer hunter needs this book. It's called, what, Deer of the Southwest?
Yep.
By Jim Heffelfinger.
Yep, sitting on my counter right now.
Okay.
Looking through it.
Yeah, if you're a Coues deer hunter or hunt Southwest mule deer, Jim is the expert. He said he'd be willing to help you guys.
I might have to hit him up.
I would.
See what he's doing, yeah.
Yeah. See if he's really just saying that. You know how it is? People are like, oh, yeah, I'll give you a hand. And then when it gets close to season, no one will pick up their phone. See if he's one of those guys. But, well, guys, this is a pretty good update. Mid-season. We're all smiling. I got through the stupid election season. Yeah. Now it's nothing but great fun, but our freezers are filling up. I've had some great hunts. Now we just got to close out the year with more fun and more adventure. You know what I'm looking forward to in February? Muskrat trapping.
All right.
We're gonna go in. Or this time when we go to it, I want more clips of how bad these banks are being ruined by these muskrats. Actually, just get right down in the water and show. And if we got those stealth cam things we're talking about, I bet you we could set some up there and we could show at night these muskrats eating these roots from the bottom, right at the water line. They come in at the water line and they scratch because the ground's frozen except by the water line. And so they scratch the mud away and they start eating the roots from the bottom. And they create these great big benches right at water level. And then when the water level rises in the spring, the bank sloughs down. And so the amount of erosion they're causing is crazy, which hurts the fish, hurts the ducks, So it's been 2 years now since we've been after the muskrats. The scrats are in big trouble come February. You guys should start sizing yourselves for gloves and hats because we're going on a mission. If you're a scrat in the Gallatin Valley of Montana, you're going to end up on the Traeger, and your hide is going to end up at the tannery.
I think what we should do is if you get a good bunch of them, we should just try a big old Dutch oven of them. Just braise them for a long time. I bet that's how we could make them taste really good.
What if you gutted them, took all the entrails out, and stuffed them with something?
Maybe. I'm thinking what Hank did with the Kawada Monday.
Yeah?
Exact same thing with the muskrat. I bet you that'd be really good.
Yeah. Head on, head off.
Well,
whole body?
We quartered it, but you could do the same thing. I mean, it'd be easier to braise probably if you quartered it up and stuff. But
okay.
Yeah.
I saw a recipe. One of my trapping buddies sent me a picture the other day. He caught some beaver.
Yeah.
And he took everything out of the cavity, like you would, a rabbit or something. And he baked that thing, stuffed.
Stuffed with what?
Just
stuff.
Whatever you'd stuff.
Stuffing, onions.
Yeah.
Whatever.
Apples, onions, whatever. Yeah, whatever you'd stuff any kind of animal with. It looked really good. I couldn't smell it through my phone, but it looked really good.
Yeah, that's all that matters, right?
Yeah. I know, it's like every other year I get this bug to go out there and do a little bit of animal damage control. It's kind of crazy when you think about it. The North American continent was almost depleted of fur because of the fashion crazes back in the early 1900s.
Yeah.
And now beaver and muskrats are a nuisance of the highest degree. We went from scarcity to recovery to nuisance. I'm excited. I wish I should go get my conibears out right now. But
is there a season? Can you do it this year round? Muskrat trapping?
No.
Yeah,
the season closes May 1st or May 15th. It starts November 1st.
Oh, okay.
I think muskrat and beaver are the same. You can do November 1st. I should look at this because it changed quite a few years back, and I might still have the old dates in my head, but I think it's November 1st to May 1st or May 15th, something like that. But, oh yeah, there's going to be more scrats and beaver laying around here, and hope you guys like beaver and scrats. Michael's over there like, oh yeah.
I want to make one of those hats.
I got one.
All right.
I have about 7 or 8 frozen beaver hides in my freezer right now.
Are they pretty difficult to make? I mean,
I
could probably
pay somebody to make it.
I'll YouTube it.
Well,
you're gonna make it yourself?
Yeah. What you'd have to do. So I skinned them. So you'd have to stretch them, you'd have to flesh them, and then stretch them to get them dried, then tan them, and then cut them into whatever pieces you're going to use for your garment, and then sew it together. Or you call Fox Fur USA in Duluth, Minnesota, and you just send them to them, and they do all that.
Gotcha.
And you say,
that might be the route.
I got a cassava melon that is 7 3/4. Here it comes.
Nice.
They know which pieces look the best. My wife loves it when I wear my beaver fur hat. when we go get coffee on weekend mornings when it's really cold in January, she's like, "Are you gonna wear your fur?" All right. Yeah, I do. I go into the coffee shop. I'm all decked out. I got beaver fur mittens just about up to my elbow. I got my Mad Bomber beaver hat on. A lot of people come up. Is that real? Yeah. Can I touch it? Yeah, sure. Whatever. So, no, if we get a bunch of beaver, you guys and muskrats. I got a muskrat hat. I got muskrat mittens. I got a muskrat muff. I got everything. I'm running out of things to make, though. So you guys are going to have to step it up.
All right.
Maybe if we catch enough scrats and beaver, I'll get Mad Bomber hats made for everybody.
Ooh, that'd be sweet.
That'd be pretty sweet.
Yeah. We'd be the styling crew, wouldn't we?
Right. That'd be sweet.
All right. That was a diversion that the audience probably really didn't want to hear about, but it's that time of year when hunting season is going to wind down, and then we're going to be sitting here twiddling our thumbs wondering, now what do we do?
Oh, there's skiing, ice fishing.
There's ice fishing. I don't
predator
do skiing.
hunting.
Yeah, there's predator hunting. I don't do the skiing thing, though.
Yeah.
I value my knees and hips and other stuff too much for hunting.
Well, this weekend we went ski hunting. I
Ski hunting.
I ski.
Tell me what that is. Is that like biathlon?
Yeah, well, you have like backcountry skis that you can put skins on
Yeah.
and go uphill.
Yeah.
We use that as our mode of transportation to go hunting. And then when you're done hunting, at the end of the day, you just ski right back down to the truck. It was pretty slick.
Tactic.
We didn't see any animals.
Oh, well, there you go.
But
Huh.
we did have the joy of skiing at the end of the day. So
Huh.
that was
Well,
nice.
Heck yeah, man. That's awesome.
I don't know. I've just seen way too many skiers that by springtime are walking around with knee braces, saying, "Boy, I sure hope that my knee's in shape before hunting season gets here." Not me. There's not a chance. But somewhere along the way, we got to get my Uncle Jim and Uncle Jim Stickler and Jerry Pritchard together so we can do the Mexico jail podcast.
Yeah.
Almost every time we put a podcast on our YouTube channel, some people will comment, "When's the Mexican Escape from Mexican Jail podcast
that
going
needs
to
to
be
happen.
there?" So
That'd be funny.
maybe we just need to do it as a live podcast. Because if they heard Jimmer laugh, it'd be worth the price of their admission just to hear him carry on and cackle and laughing. So I'll try to get that one on the schedule too. We got to think about guests. Maybe we need some serious trapper guest. Who would
I have
we
no
get?
idea who that would be.
That's you.
Yeah.
Maybe we should get Marty from Mountain Man.
I have no idea what that
Yeah.
is. I don't have TV.
Well, Mountain Man is produced by Warm Springs
Right, I do
Productions.
know that. But
And Warm Springs, for the audience, if you watch the movie Mountain Man on History Channel, it's produced by the same group of guys who produced our show for 6 years. And so they always tell me, "You and Marty need to get together." Marty's probably like, "Why would I want to go hang out with that knucklehead from Montana?" But anyhow, he's a pretty serious trapper. Of course, whenever you introduce the trapping aspect, you get flamed with all the hate mail and everything else, but that implies I care. I don't. Trapping is as legit as hunting and fishing and everything else, but all right, I'm about ready to diverge us here into something that's really going to be bad. So, ladies, gentlemen, go out, hunt. I hope your seasons are still open. If they're not, I hope your freezer's full. Really appreciate you all listening. And thanks for the sponsors that make this possible. We hope that you will support them because they're out there supporting you. Good luck out there.